In the modern age, there are certain tasks and things that you do in a modern household that typically get assigned to different sexes. For example, cutting the grass. Cutting my grass is typically a male activity. But and so if we accept sort of these categories, that the man must cut the grass because it's some physical activity or something. But when I think about a pre-industrial age, I think, well, men and women would be both be doing a ton of manual labor, whatever it may be, taking care of the animals and feces and grass or whatever, crops. Women are out there picking the crops and all this stuff. Then I think I don't think it's necessarily the man's job, if the woman's doing hard manual labor to take care of the home in various ways, landscaping, whatever. I don't think that's necessarily to be done by men only or women only. It seems a lot more, if we take this and we transplant into the modern age, we think, well, everybody working together, whatever it may be. And there's certain tasks that only the man could do because they're really heavy for a second. Go ahead, go for it. I think of this when we planted a family garden this year. It was
wait, hold on. Did you make sure you had a peace tree for the imam and the rabbi and stuff, just like the human fraternity, to make sure you were in full communion?
Poll. May peace prevail on earth in 5 languages. But gardening, it takes pulling up all of your sod and then putting down raised beds or whatever. We had to build a fence to keep out the deer because we have a lot of deer in our neighborhood. And my wife is doing a bunch of the work. I'm shouldering the heavier things, carrying the wood back and forth and whatnot. But it's not like I'm keeping track of the points. Like, I'm the male, so I did these male tasks. She's the female, so I did all these female tasks. Like, I need to care about that, or else I'm, I think that like the neo-Puritan mindset is like, well, I'm not really a man if I, do this lesser work that's not as difficult or not as heavy or something like that. It's like, I just see the household as a greater, more fluid thing. We are the patriarchs. So we're making sure that the work is done in the end. And whether that's I'm doing this one thing, or she's taking care of this task, or I'm doing it for her, she's doing this for me, whatever. And we're all working together, and I'm making sure the kids are involved and they're working on it too. But I think keeping score over these things and then going on Twitter about it. Let's go on Twitter and complain about this.
There's one more analogy I was thinking of as you were giving yours about gardening. I used to be a coach, as I've said, and the coach is in charge. The coach is in charge. But if you watch these, I love football. I don't actually have cable, so I don't get to watch live games. But I just love sports. Yeah, I love football. I just, I just can't shake that. And I love the lore of, you watch these documentaries on, the Super Bowl team or something, and there's just something so just quintessentially masculine about, the team and the goal and the injuries and the camaraderie. It's just so fun. And one of the things I love when you watch these documentaries about like these amazing coaches, and coaches are really interesting to study for leadership. They really are amazing leaders, especially in football with all the moving parts. And but you'll always find like they'll have the greatest respect for the coach. They'll say, pick like Bill Belichick. He's like one of the best coaches in NFL history. And they'll be like, he was always here before I got here, and he was always here when I was leaving. So his devotion was there. But they'll also be like, I remember one time, there's little stories, little vignettes of these players, and they'll say, he was helping the ball boy. He was picking up the pads and setting them up for he doesn't have to do that. We have a guy who's hired to do that, but he just wanted to do it. Or he was in the laundry room because whatever, and he was helping, things like that. So as part of leadership, which is what patriarchy really is, it's a manly leadership. It's a leadership of virtue in the natural order of creation. Those little menial tasks, you're not lowering yourself by doing them. You're actually in a sense, you're uniting to you're sharing in the suffering of those who have to do them as part of the delegation to show that you're not above them in the sense of, I'm not some tyrant. Now, is it good for the coach to neglect his duties of strategizing for the next game because he wants to prove how good he is at being the ball boy? No, that doesn't make any sense. But there is something quintessentially endearing about the coach who's able to do the things that are quote unquote beneath him, but he doesn't see it as such. And that's a distinction people have to make.